Hey everybody, I am back in Posen and it is incredible how much has changed since I was on my little road trip. So in the last 3 weeks, plants have grown an incredible amount. The amount of blooms and color in these greenhouses, it's absolutely taking my breath away. I literally spent an hour walking around the greenhouses trying to decide what I should show you first. And I finally landed on geraniums, and mainly because when I left, the geraniums, we had been plucking all the blooms off of them in anticipation so that we could get them timed just right so that they'd be bursting with color in time for opening, and the crew did an amazing job. We have a complete carpet of color. So in this video, I'm going to show you specifically the different colors of geraniums because I think it's interesting to kind of see how much variation there is. And then I'm also going to cover a little bit of geranium care so that you can have really incredible looking geraniums on your own. So let's take a closer look. This one is the Mojo Orange, and you can see really nice big flower head on it. One of the more intense oranges out there, so we really like that. Big contrast in flower to this one here, which is the Caldera Lavender Glow. This one's really interesting because the flowers start out darker and then they will fade a little bit. Now, once this gets filled with flowers, you're going to have a great two-tone ember effect on it. Another one with that kind of more open blossom is the Brocade Fire Night. Really nice orange on this one, and this is the one that's known for having that beautiful kind of dark centered leaf on it as well, which is a great contrast to the beautiful orange that you're seeing. The one geranium right now that we don't have flowers on is the Wilhelm Languth. That's a really old-fashioned variety with the variegated leaf, has a reddish colored flower. That one is going to be in bloom pretty soon, but it's the one that is being a little sluggish on us right now. This one is Americana Cherry Rose, so a really nice, intense, pinkish red on that one. It's probably, I'm going to call it more of a fuchsia or a hot pink kind of color. The Scarlet Fires, they're an orangey red, so this is definitely more orange than many of the other reds that we have, but it's a really beautiful and really popular color as well. And then we have the Americana Dark Red. That's another nice, good red. Over here, this is the Rosalie Antique Salmon, and you can see this one has a little bit of that two-tone effect in there, so it looks good with pink and with peach. So it's one of those flowers that can kind of shift based on what you put it with. It can look more one or the other, and you can see, look at how many blooms are kind of on their way. So this one just, it really has that nice color. It's kind of got more of that double leaf as well, so just a little bit different from some of the other geraniums out there. Moonlight Orange, another really good, nice, bright orange color. And then Supermoon Red, this is the one that my sister Stacy absolutely loves because it is a nice red color. The flowers tend to last forever. It has a nice dark leaf as well. And then, let's see, this one is the Moonlight Coral. Now this coral is definitely more of an orangey coral. I'm going to show you a different coral that definitely has a different kind of tone to it. It's, some of them are going to look more pink or salmon. This one definitely has an orange tone to it. So depending on the variety, the naming can be a little bit different. Over here, this is the Calliope Large Red. Now, Calliope is the series that we have the most of. The dark red is probably our best seller as well. And you can see, look at that nice velvety red in there. Really fantastic. Let me pop over here and show you more of the Calliopes. So over here we've got the Rose Mega Splash, and this is a fantastic bicolor, and having that lighter color on the outside definitely makes the blooms on this one stand out from a distance, so it's a little more unusual as far as the flower goes. Over here is the Calliope Coral, and you can see how different this coral is from the Moonlight Coral. The Moonlight Coral definitely has more of a hunter orange. This one has more of that pink coral cast. So depending on the variety of geranium, the naming of the colors can be a little bit different. Over here we have just the regular pink Calliope, and you can see it is a nice kind of perfect pink. We also carry the hot pink, but we're sold out of that one. We are working on getting some of the pale pinks for next year. Hopefully we can get a couple of those in. Over here we have Crimson Flame. This is a bestseller, and it is one of those, it's almost a bicolor, definitely stands out from a distance. That great saturation in the center with a nice, beautiful kind of pink rim on it. This one, people really, once they have it, there are people who are kind of addicted to the flower on this one. Then this one here is the lavender. This is, again, these are all Calliopes, and the purple kind of cast in this lavender is absolutely beautiful. This is another one that people are very loyal to. We've been planting it with the Jazzberry Supertunia, and it's been fantastic. Over here is the Bright Scarlet, and this Bright Scarlet is kind of more of an orange red, whereas the Americana bright scarlet is more orangey. So this is orange red, that one is definitely more orange red. So this is the Calliope bright scarlet. So I already showed you the Americana bright scarlet. Again, an example of how the names can kind of be a little bit different. This is the salmon. You can see a nice kind of pink peach cast to it on the salmon. It's definitely a unique color. And then over here, these are the violet. And the violet is one of the more saturated, kind of intense colors of geraniums. They're absolutely stunning. This is one that people really do fall in love with as well. So violet is another popular one. And then we get into back to dark reds. So beautiful colors. Now over here, I want to show you kind of the oranges side by side. So this first one here is the Fire Brocade. This is a really great orange, like a true orange. This is the one that has the darker center on the leaves. And I have that next to two plants here that are the Moonlight Orange. And these are really nice bright oranges, as is the Mojo Orange. That's what this one is. I have it next to the Americana Scarlet Fire, and you can see this one definitely is a little bit more pink. And I don't know, you probably can't see it so much on the camera, but the Scarlet Fire is a little bit more pink orange. But all of these are definitely, like, especially these three are great, like pure orange, or the closest to a pure orange. And then this one has that little pink cast to it. We also had some little funny moments here, like this geranium here. It was supposed to be a pink geranium. It's come out some kind of magenta color. It's not a color that we even carry, so we're not sure if it's just some mutation or if they sent us the wrong one, but we love the color. I wish we knew what it was, and it looks really great with these Cha-Cha Fuchsia Calibrachoas and this Euphorbia. It's just really fantastic. The crew did plant some of these geraniums together side by side just to kind of show some of the variation in color. Did a great job with that. So it's nice to see kind of the different colors, when you see them like this, because you don't always know what they look like. When you see them individually, it's a little bit different. Now I have another one I'm going to show you. So this one is the Calliope Bright Scarlet, and this is what it looks like in a hanging basket. Now it is going to get a lot bigger than this. Remember, we're in northern Michigan, so it's still pretty cool out and early in our season, but you can already see that these types of geraniums tend to get big enough where they actually start covering the rim. They won't cover the whole pot, they don't get that big, but they will start to expand out and just kind of keep getting bigger and taller, and those flower heads are going to be just absolutely enormous here. And we have it planted with some of the Black-Eyed Susan vine, so that's just a nice combination because you have that bright yellow with the geranium flowers. So this is the Americana Bright Scarlet, which is that slightly oranger of the bright scarlets, and we have it here with the Suncredible Helianthus, and they go great together. And just to show you the vigor of these Calliopes, this is, I think, at 15 inches already. So this is getting plenty tall. It's going to hold its own against this Helianthus, which gets very, very large. Also looks really nice in that pot. So I wanted to make sure you saw that. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about geranium care. So geraniums tend to look their best if they get a little bit of deadheading. So when you notice spent flowers, this one actually is a little soon to do it. That's all you do, whether it's a leaf or a flower that you want to remove, is you follow the stem down to where it meets the other part of the stem. I'm not sure I can give you a good view, but right in there. And that's all you do is break off that piece. Comes off really, really easy. So they're one of the easiest ones when it comes to cleaning. You just break that off. Now, if you found maybe a leaf or something that you didn't like or it wasn't doing so well, like this leaf here has some damage on the edge. It's looking a little crimply, so I'm just going to pop that off as well. Super easy to do. So that's the main part of the care. When it comes to watering, geraniums are among the most forgiving plants. So they can have their soil dry right down to where it's basically completely dry, and they won't show signs of stress. They just kind of hang out for a while. You can go a day or two like that, and they don't seem to be bothered by it too much. They do need to be watered, so you don't want to go for, 5 days with no water, but you can miss waterings and they're not going to have a problem. In fact, we find that when we want them to flower, we kind of hold off on the water, and they tend to start to bloom a little bit more. But we do also make sure that they're getting regular doses of fertilizer. So we usually use a liquid or water-soluble fertilizer, and we do that once a week. Some people like to do that twice a week. They also do pretty well if you're just giving them time-release fertilizer. You can pop that into the pots, and they tend to do okay with that. The only problem is that if you're not watering them very much, then that time-release fertilizer isn't able to kind of dissolve into the soil. So that can sometimes be a little bit bit of a problem with time-release fertilizers, so be aware of that. Otherwise, they are just easy. You just do that little bit of deadheading, and just make sure that you buy a variety that has the vigor that you want. So if you're getting kind of a cheaper seed variety, they might not flower as much and they might not get as big. So if you want to show your geranium, get one of the varieties like the Calliope or some of the other ones that I showed you. They all tend to get nice and big, and they tend to flower all season. So these will just keep going and going and going right up until frost. So they tend to look really good all season long. They do tend to peter out a little bit at the end of the season where you're going to see less flowers, but for the most part, the prime part of the season, they are just loaded. As long as you're giving them that regular fertilizer and you're giving them a little bit of water, that's all you have to do. It's super easy.